Hey guys, welcome back with another Malifaux content. First of all, I posted a clarification or more like a summarization of the changes of Malifaux 1.5 and 2.0. And somebody actually told me that I look lost in that video, and I have to admit that I was actually pretty lost because I wasn't part of beta. I wasn't in alpha at all. I just started Malifaux five months ago ish, 6 months now, I guess. I actually read that particular rule book twice that day. First when I was at work, which is as a good worker I shouldn't be reading it, but I was reading it and I was skimming through it basically. And then as soon as I got home, I downloaded a little bit more. And then I kind of reread it, read it a couple of times, kind of understanding the basic rules and everything. But I do make mistakes in that video. Obviously, you can see that I have a lot of annotations, graphical annotations, and also like text everywhere after I upload it. Because I keep finding more and more mistakes. So this particular, I wouldn't want to even call it a series, but this particular video is going to be a little bit more clarification on certain things, and in this particular video is about the Soulstone. It all started today because Wyrd Chronicles number 6 is out today. Adrian Scott, I don't actually know his forum name or whatever, because I don't really lurk at weird forums. I usually just look at the Facebook group that I'm in that plays Malifaux. He was actually explaining a little bit more about the Soulstone mechanics, and I'm glad that he actually did it because I was confused. As you can tell probably from my video, I was confused about that whole new Soulstone mechanic. And there's a couple of things that I actually missed. So here's the changes. He actually pointed out in like 7 or 8 bullet points of the changes that is actually in the new 2.0 version of Malifaux, or they call it M2E. The first significant one being there's only a maximum of 7 Soulstones that you can carry in the beginning of the encounter. Before it was 8, now it's 7. And if you played a master like Colette before, you started with 8, but sometimes at the end of the game you can end up having more than 10 because you keep collecting Soulstones or making Soulstones along the way. So this might be a big change from 8 to 7. It depends on how attached you are to your Soulstones. In the beginning when I played, I was so attached to my Soulstones I don't want to use it. And then towards now, when I play, I actually burn Soulstone depending on the situation. I tend to read more the situation of the game a little bit better, and I throw Soulstones as I need it. So having 8 versus 7 Soulstones could be a big problem. If you have, and anytime during this video, if you have any comments, just post it down below. If you think I'm doing some kind of mistake, or if I'm saying something that's not supposed to be like that on the rulebook, please just comment down below. I appreciate any feedback, obviously, and I mean, if you're trolling, please don't do that, because I'm learning this as you guys are learning as well. This is probably like the 3rd, 4th time that I'm reading the rulebook, and the clarification from Adrian today from Wyrd Chronicles is actually really great for me. Point number 2 being models that have the Master or Henchman status, they can actually use Soulstones, but there's no limitation on how many Henchmen that you can bring. Obviously, Henchmen are a little bit more expensive than most other minions. You can have, a minimum of one model in your entire crew that can use Soulstones. But if you have 2 Henchmen, that means you have 3 models that can use Soulstones. 7 Soulstones max, 3 people that can use it. It's up to you how you want to spread it out. Adrian also mentioned that it's up to you whether you want to save your master when he's dying, or you want to save it for your henchman who's might be possibly a little bit stronger than your master at that point. This kind of changes a lot of different things, I think, because at first you can only bring 1 master and 1 henchman. That means only maximum of 2 Soulstone user in your crew. And now you can have, if it's possible, you're playing, let's say, a 50 Soulstones game. Let's say, assuming every henchman is 10 Soulstones, that means you can have your master and 5 henchman models. How crazy is that? I mean, I haven't read the rulebook again to see how many is the maximum number of henchmen, but according to this particular clarification from Adrian, it doesn't really say that how many that you can bring. Like, you can probably bring as much as you can depending on how many Soulstones you're playing. So this is a pretty interesting addition to the actual game itself, switching from 1.5 to 2.0. Point number 3, a model can actually use a Soulstone before any card flips are done, and declare it before any card flips are done, whether it's an opposed duel or like a simple duel. to add a positive twist onto the flip. So instead of adding the actual card itself, you basically pay a Soulstone to actually get more cards to see the chances, you know, because it's counting cards basically, and you wanted to see your probability if a higher card would come out next instead of the low card that you flip. This changes a lot, I guess, from 1.5 to 2.0 instead of adding, because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm already missing 1 point. As long as I don't get a black joker, I can Soulstone it and get this crucial duel, or winning this crucial duel. So I think people might have to get used to it. I haven't played the game at all. I didn't have time to play the game, so I haven't really tried it, but just I'm theory-falling right now. And from the looks of it, it is a very interesting change, and I'm looking forward to actually try this out. Now, point number 4 is very, very crucial to this change, because according to Adrian, this is one of the biggest change that they ever done, because when you spend a Soulstone during a duel to add a positive flip to your defense, it actually also add a negative twist onto your opponent's damage when it actually goes through. This is very crucial when you're actually trying to spread out. You know, if you want to make your opponent to get as many negatives as possible, yeah, you can declare to use like 3 Soulstones in the beginning, assuming that he has like a neutral flip in the beginning anyway. Having to fish out for the black joker, you'd spend your Soulstone to increase your defense. At the same time, you're spending your Soulstone to make sure the opponent during the damage to fish out that black joker that you wanted. Of course, the drawback is, what if he still has the red joker and it will come out, you know, during that fishing? It is very crucial. It seems like card movement is a little bit more, not fluid, but there's more card movement. There's card cycling in 2.0 versus 1.5, and I think this is a pretty interesting mechanic. But I think I might get confused in the beginning, because you know, it's hard to keep track on everything at once, basically. Especially doing these changes when you're already used to playing the game a certain way. So hopefully I can try out the game and actually test this mechanic pretty soon. Point number 5 that I already mentioned in my first video about Malifaux 2.0, you can actually spend a Soulstone to add a suit onto your card or replace the suit. This is good, for example, for those Reser players that always never get a crow in their hand, because sometimes it's really hard to get a suit for a certain trigger. Again, you have to remember that all the Soulstone declaring, or like I want to use X amount of Soulstone, has to be done before you flip any card. So you actually do this before, you know, declaring anything else. First thing you do, okay, I want to use 2 Soulstones in this duel. Alright, let's do it. And then you figure out the negative positive twist to it, and then flip X amount of cards according to those twists. I think adding a suit, it is a pretty interesting mechanic as well. The only triggers that I pretty much need a lot so far from using Guild and Mei Fang before, or Lady J and Mei Fang, are mostly mask. Nino uses mask. Santiago uses mask for trigger happy. Sometimes I don't get it. Like, I need that mask, that extra mask. This could be a pretty good change from 1.5 to 2.0. Point number 6 is the same way that it was before. Player can spend a Soulstone to do a damage prevention flip. I like the fact that this doesn't change, because sometimes I want to save my master, like getting hit a lot, and hopefully the red joker will come out, all the damage is gone. Because sometimes the max damage I've ever received to Lady J was about 12 or 16, somewhere around there, and she's basically getting one shot at. And if the red joker comes out, all the damage is prevented. And man, you know, instead of doing healing flips or whatever that she can do now, damage prevention is probably a lot better sometimes, right? Point number 7, the same way as before, a player can spend a Soulstone to reflip their initiative flip. It's exactly the same way as 1.5. Sometimes that crucial initiative flip that you need, you just want to spend a Soulstone on it, and sometimes it's not even worth it. Like turn 1, you want an initiative that bad, I don't think you need the Soulstone. I mean, turn 1 is usually just positioning. If you're going against certain crew, it might be very, very crucial, like putting Nino on top of a certain area, and then you can use Obey on Nino so he can shoot at someone at turn 1. Yeah, that might be good. But most of the time, turn 1, you don't need the Soulstone on initiative flip. Point number 8 is new. You can actually spend a Soulstone to draw 2 cards, and then discard 2 cards again after that to get your maximum hand number. This is pretty new, so basically, again, like I said before, card cycling seems to be going really fast. I can see that people are already probably going to be shuffling a lot more cards than before. The only time that I actually shuffle a lot of my deck was because of Mei Feng when she triggers that Tiger's Fury. But from what I've read, that chain reaction is gone now. Getting that 2 high cards, possibility of getting those 2 high cards in the beginning by spending a Soulstone is also good. But now I can totally see that instead of someone spending a Soulstone to get their initiative flip on the turn 1, they could actually do, you know, a Soulstone to get 2 high cards from the beginning. Let's say you wanted to fish out the Black Joker or the Red Joker in first hand, you want to keep it the whole entire game. You spend a Soulstone, see if the Soulstone could actually be worth it to get those one of those 2 cards. And number 9, another big change is you can't do healing flips unless your master has the ability to do healing flips. The heal action is gone basically. You can't spend 1 AP, 1 general AP to heal unless your master or your henchman or any of your model actually specifically has the ability to do healing flips. And another one that's gone is also Draining Soul. I'm not familiar with that at all because I'm pretty sure it has something to do with Rezzers. So I'm not even going to touch up on that because, again, the information is public. You can read Wyrd Chronicles number 6. You can probably get better understanding of it by reading it yourself instead of just listening to me right now. I wanted to make some clarifications on the Soulstone rules. I wanted to read a little bit more about the rules. And I also wanted to play a little bit more. While I'm not playing, might as well read as much as I can, getting prepared, you know, so when I see someone that I know and we're going to start playing 2.0, I'm not going to be much of a burden of like asking too many questions. So what does this do again? What does this do again? So hopefully my videos, again, will help you clarify, you know, the changes between 1.5 and 2.0. Again, if I have any mistakes, I am really sorry because I was never a beta tester or even in the alpha production or anything at all. I'm as newbie as you are in terms of switching to 1.5, 2.0. But I am grateful at the fact that people on Twitter are actually encouraging me to ask them a little bit more. Like Dawn from Twitter, I met her at Adepticon, and a couple of other people from the podcast, the Malifaux podcast, said, like, you know, if you have any questions, just ask away. Don't be afraid of asking. Also, a couple of people from my Facebook group, Socal Malifaux group, told me, like, if you need anything, any information, just ask. Don't hesitate to ask. So, again, if you have any questions to me, and if I don't know how to answer it, I will, you know, direct that question to somebody else and see if I can find the answer for you. But if you have any questions, comment, and everything else, feel free to just ask me down below. And hopefully, you know, we all learn together at the same time. Thanks for watching.